Hey everybody, it's Matthew. We're going to get started here in just a little bit. I'll put some agendas and minutes in the chat. We'll get started around 7:05.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody, how are you?
Good.
Everyone have a good new year?
Yes.
Folks, we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Michael, Grieco, I assume you need to speak first, yes? Will that be helpful?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Thank you. And Councilman, you'd like to speak after committee? Or
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
No problem.
Perfect. Okay, good deal.
I'm very intimidated. Both Dave Dobler and I saw Cindy Lerner on there too. Geez, what's going on?
Gotta hold you accountable, man. Actually, I want to hear all the good stuff I know you're up there fighting for.
Looks like you're walking the mean streets of Tallahassee, Michael.
It is freezing up here. Yes, the mean cold streets.
How cold is it?
It's going down to the 30s tonight.
Oh. I mean, it's pretty cold here for Miami Beach, but wow, 30s.
No, I know. Yeah, I woke up. I woke up to that cold this morning. I flew up this morning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they said it was 46 this morning, the coldest it's been in Miami in 2 years.
I like it. It's a good change of pace.
All right, folks, we're going to give it just one more minute. We'll get started at 7:05. Everyone just be patient. The agenda for tonight's meeting is in the chat, and then I'll put the minutes from December. And then we did not have quorum at our December meeting, so we've got our November minutes to approve as well. We'll kick it off with our guest speakers. We're going to give just one more minute, and then we'll get into our business. Thank you.
Everybody's so quiet. Good night, everyone. How y'all doing?
Hello, Valerie. How are you?
Good.
Always fantastic, and I've seen you guys.
All right, it is 7:05 p.m. I'm Matthew Leonard. I'm your president. I am not in a place with really good Wi-Fi, so I'm going to probably stay off video because every time I put on my video, I start freezing up. So I'm going to keep it off for this evening. But I hope everyone's doing well. Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome back. We certainly wanted to be having this meeting in person tonight, but unfortunately, due to all of the COVID numbers in Miami, I think our positivity rate is down to about 28%, is I think the 7-day average, the last that I saw. We felt it was incumbent upon us to stay virtual for now. As a board, we decided we will continue to reevaluate it every single month, and we will keep you guys posted. We want to make sure that when we go back in person, it is safe for everybody to do so. And we will be doing hybrid meetings for time being when we do return in person. We hate that we can't all be together yet, but we do hope everybody understands. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got two fantastic guest speakers. We have our very own state representative, Michael Grieco, who's speaking to us live tonight from the chilly Tallahassee weather, and going to let us know about what's going on in session, what we need to look up for. And Representative Grieco is also running for state Senate for those newly drawn maps that the Senate just passed last week. So we're very excited to hear about him running for Senate. And then after him, we're going to also
I can't hear you at all.
Huh? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you
I can,
fine.
I can hear perfectly, boss.
Okay, good deal. Awesome. So
And now I can.
after Representative Grieco, we will hear from Councilman Jordan Leonard up in Bay Harbor Islands, is one of our council members up there to the north of us, who's running for state representative and seeking to represent us here in Miami Beach. So Michael, I'm gonna let you go and kick it off. Talk to us.
Great, thanks. Good to see everybody. Yes, I'm coming to you live from the frozen tundra of Tallahassee, where we do expect it to go down to the 30s tonight, which I'm not too crazy about. But you know, the things I do for all of you, it's quite interesting. Usually these sessions don't carry a lot of legislation, especially during a redistricting year. But it seems like a lot of bills are moving. Some good bills, some awful bills. To highlight some of the awful bills that are moving right now, one of them being the abortion ban, the 15-week abortion ban that doesn't make any exceptions for rape or incest. There's another bill that wants to mandate that all professional sporting events require us to sing the national anthem. There's another one that says that elementary schools essentially can't talk about same-sex marriages and anything regarding LGBT. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just
You're
making
good.
sure. All right,
Thanks, Michael.
Tim gave me the thumbs up because I'm not getting a lot of audio from you guys. But it's early. I mean, this is week 3. We've seen some garbage bills come through so far. Actually, some of them are moving in the Senate quicker than they're moving in the House, unfortunately. So we're trying to kind of see what's coming next. And yeah, as your president said, I am running for the state Senate. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So as y'all know, I've been your state representative. This will now be my 4th session representing you up in Tallahassee. And the current House seat that I hold handles all of Miami Beach, downtown Miami, Little Havana, and North Bay Village. It's about 160,000 people. With redistricting, the state Senate seats represent about 550,000 people. So the state Senate seat that I formally filed for a few weeks ago and then had to refile for this morning because the numbers changed, it involves Miami Beach, Edgewater, Wynwood, Allapattah, Little Havana, Coral Gables north of Bird Road, Sweetwater, Fontainebleau, Midtown, Overtown, and Brickell. So it's a lot of ground. It's a lot of ground to cover. It's a lot of doors to knock on. But it's exciting. It's not something that I necessarily thought I was going to be doing. It's not something that I necessarily thought I was going to be doing, but I think it's the right path for what I've been doing up here to allow me to continue to do the work I'm doing up here with essentially a bigger microphone. It's very challenging, and whether it be Jordan or somebody else who ends up replacing me up here in Tallahassee, being a Democrat in the Florida House, see what you guys are doing to me? Anyway, being a Democrat in the Florida House, it is really, really tough. It's tough to come up here and be essentially part of the super minority. And don't get me wrong, my bills are moving. I have 2 of my bills that are moving in committee next week and tomorrow. But it's, in general, being in a situation where you're powerless is very challenging. And you get to see it firsthand how elections have consequences. And you know, it's got very little to do with gerrymandering, and it's got more to do with Democrats statewide not being able to fundraise properly, not being able to spend money properly, not being able to put together a good bench of candidates moving forward. The needle is just moving in the wrong direction in the Florida House. 2 years ago, we thought that we would have over 50 members, and we would be relevant. Now we have around 42 members, and we're, a couple of people away from being in the super minority where we become even more irrelevant than we already are. So it's been very frustrating coming up here and doing that. The Senate, there's a lot more parity. And the seat that I'm running for, just so everybody knows, I'm probably going to be running against Ileana Garcia. So if anybody is familiar with Ileana Garcia, she is the Republican state senator who, by way of fraud, unseated JJR, Jose Javier Rodriguez, in the 2020 election. So I'm making it my mission to get that seat back for us. And I'm going to lose a lot of weight, and I'm going to lose a lot of money and a lot of time for my family in the process. My campaign manager is on the call as well. His name is Joel. You'll see him in the chat. He just waved. We imported Joel from New Hampshire by way of Virginia, and he's one of the best in the business, and he's going to be our guy, boots on the ground. So if you guys use him as a point of contact for anything that we're doing campaign wise. As you guys may or may not know, fundraising and campaigning in general is kind of put on pause during legislative session. The fundraising is by law. The campaigning is just logistical. But once mid-March kicks in and we're back in Miami full-time, we're going to be full-time running, and we're not going to look back, and we're not going to do this until we get that seat back. But I'd love to hear questions, whether it be from the folks that are in the beach, some of the folks not from the beach that are on the call, but I'd love to hear if you guys have any questions, any concerns, how you see things from your perspective.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Representative. We appreciate you giving us an overview always of what's going on in Tallahassee. And always please keep us posted if there's anything that we can make some noise about. We know that you and Senator Pizzer are fantastic always, and great on our issues, but if there's anything we make noise about, Elevate, please let us know. Do not hesitate to let us know. But folks have some questions for Representative Grieco, candidate Grieco. Tim, go for it.
Hey, Michael, well, thank you for joining us again. I live on North Beach, and at one point or another, the last time I chatted with you, you had indicated that your district would stop at 41st Street and not go further north. Is that still true?
That's correct. So the Senate lines they're not formally formal yet, but they're pretty formal right now, which essentially means that they're locked as much as we think they're going to be locked. And Senate District 36, which is the one I'm running in, the northern border is going to be 41st Street.
That's what I remember you telling me.
So north of 41st Street will be Chevron Jones, who is a sitting senator. He's a Democrat. He's amazing. He's a dear friend. He's endorsed me, and he's amazing. So his district's going to come from all the way west over to Miami Beach, north of 41st Street, which candidly, it sounds like it's a bad thing instinctively, but it's really not. To have two senators, especially if it's me, as opposed to it being a Republican from essentially Pinecrest, it's advantageous because then you have two people advocating in the Senate for whether it be for money, whether it be for substantive issues. So I think that it's a blessing in disguise.
Well, I can say this, despite the fact that you will no longer be my senator, I will still help you in any way I can.
Well, thank you. I don't think Chev's not going to need any help. His
Probably
district
not,
is going to be, his district's going to be very, very blue. The district numbers for the one they drew for us, south of 41st, it's still Democratic leaning, but it's a plurality, no party affiliation voter. And then it's Republicans coming in third. It's like it leans like +1, +2 Democrat, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a true blue seat. And answering one of the questions that just popped up, no, Jose Javier Rodriguez is not running again. I am the only Democrat who's filed for this seat. We don't expect there to be a primary. All signs indicate that this is going to be a head-to-head, me versus Ileana Garcia. Jose Javier Rodriguez works in the Biden administration now.
Thank you, Representative. Cheryl Unger had a question she put in the chat. Cheryl, I don't know if you want to ask it live, and if not, I'm happy to read it for you.
Hi, I was just wondering what your strategy is to reach out to Hispanic voters, especially given your opposition and how your district is drawn now.
Well, interesting question. So despite the fact that I'm a blonde-haired, blue-eyed gringo, my Spanish is decent. But more importantly, statistically, if you look at my data from when I won in 2018, in the general election, I won every precinct in Little Havana except for one. Our outreach and our connection with the Hispanic community, not just the Cuban community, but I'm even stronger in the Cuban community. It's the same. You know, we're able to connect with people regardless as to language barriers. But more importantly, I don't believe, despite what people may think, I don't believe that people vote just because somebody's last name is Garcia or Perez or Fernandez. I never bought into that. You know, on the beach, I can walk into any senior center, which is primarily Hispanic, and I know people by name. I got elected by retail campaigning, and I stay in office because I provide retail government. And if I've got to knock on 10,000 doors, I'll knock on 10,000 doors. If I got to knock on 25,000 doors, we'll knock on 25,000 doors. But this election is going to be made or broken by the no party affiliation voters, not just on the beach, but throughout the district. And being able to connect with people beyond just pushing our, like what we would call our democratic agenda. We need to be able to speak to people who are completely burned out from partisan politics, and people who not only are willing to listen, but they're willing to give their ideas to people that are willing to listen. So I always performed very well with the Hispanic community. In 2013, I unseated a Hispanic city commissioner. And when I ran in 2018, I went ahead and beat a Republican in every precinct in Little Havana, despite the fact that I am a blonde-haired, blue-eyed gringo. They call me El Rubio in Little Havana.
I love it. Representative, I think Sherry Rubin, did you have a question? We'll do Sherry, and then Steve Hall is going to have the last question because I know Representative, you got to go in Tallahassee, and we have a full agenda too.
Yes,
so Sherry, and then Steve.
Okay, I did have a question. And I didn't hear you reference any legislation on voting rights at all. And I, you know, I'm a public school teacher, so I'm wiped out by 7 at night. And I just wanted to make sure that I was correct, that there's nothing currently in the State House that would in any way erode voters' rights or access.
No, they did that last year.
Right.
They eroded
Okay.
they eroded our rights last year. I don't think there's any pending legislation that I'm aware of that will further erode our voting rights. I think that we know what the playing field is going to be going into the 2022 election.
Okay.
Thank you, Representative. Steve Hall with our final question, then we'll let you wrap it up, Representative.
Yeah, Representative, what do you feel are the worst bills in the current session? And I know that you and Senator Pizzo are going to vote the correct way. And of those worst bills, what would you ask us as individuals in the club to do to help fight back those bad laws from becoming a reality?
I mean, listen, a lot of it's just the red meat stuff. You know, the like the woke bill where they're trying to, you know, ban critical race theory, which is not taught in any of our schools, and it's just an effort to essentially it's essentially pandering to racists. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You've got, I mean, my opponent or our presumed opponent, Ileana Garcia, went on Jim DeFeedy last Sunday. She couldn't define critical race theory. She couldn't name one school in the entire state of Florida that teaches it because it's a graduate level theory class. And it's just a way to just trigger, you know, the far right, and it's disgusting. So that's a terrible bill. Obviously, the 15-week abortion ban, what they call the heartbeat bill, that's a garbage bill. You know, there's a few others, but listen, if they want to pass something, they can pass it. They've got it's 24-16 in the Senate, it's 78-42 in the House, and the governors are Republican, and they've got the Supreme Court. You know, we live in Texas, guys. Until we can change things, until we can win one house, whether it be the Senate or the House, one chamber up here in the legislature, you can make all the phone calls you want. You can send all the emails that you want. This is about elections. It's not about killing or passing legislation. It's really about reclaiming this state that we love. And once you clear Palm Beach, it ain't our Florida anymore. It's a completely different Florida, and we need to own that, embrace it. But we didn't do too well in Dade County back in 2020. We need to be focusing on voter registration. We need to be focusing on getting those people not only to register, but to actually go out and vote, and to vote right. And we also have to go and recruit good candidates. It's very frustrating. I'm getting burned out. I mean, I'm being direct. It's very painful to come up here and to look at it. It's such an uphill battle. It is so challenging. And I don't know how else to articulate it other than this is about elections. It's not about what's going to happen in the next 6 weeks in the legislature.
Yeah, that anti-abortion bill, it surprised me that it came on so strong. I didn't think they would do it here, but it looks like they could. That's
Well, they
frightening.
did. Well, Steve, I mean, they did the one last year, the parental consent bill, which essentially said that if a dad rapes his daughter, she has to ask for his permission to get an abortion, unless she goes to court. Like, this is what we're dealing with. It's scary stuff.
Thank you so much, Representative. We appreciate your time today. If you wouldn't mind, would you quickly introduce Joel to us? Because I'm sure he's someone who we're going to be interfacing with a lot. And then just always in the future, Joel, you have our email address. Michael, I know you know how to get a hold of me. Any campaign events, fundraisers, canvases, volunteer opportunities, please let us know. Our membership always wants to get involved and help out and volunteer however they can. So we will always publish any Democratic candidates, some information, whatever they've got going on. So please just make sure you stay in touch with us and keep us posted on that stuff. But please do introduce Joel, if you wouldn't mind, Representative, and give us any last minute closing remarks.
Yeah, Joe, you want to just say hi real quick and tell them where you came from, what you got going on?
No, absolutely. Can folks hear me? Yeah, my name is Joel Kasnitz. I've worked in a whole number of states, brand new to South Florida, but I've worked for the last number of years in really tough fights for elections, especially for the U.S. House for the last 2 cycles. Really excited to be here in South Florida and adjusting to my new nice, comfortable, fun life here in Miami. And we're really excited to get some great work done. Mike's a really great candidate. We're working really hard, putting together the resources that we need. And I know there's really enthusiastic folks here who want to help us get over the finish line. So I left my phone number and my email in the chat. I'd love to grab coffee to talk with anybody who's interested in helping out and getting involved. I'm super excited to actually get to meet folks in person soon.
Thank you.
All right, Matt,
anything else?
Yeah, my last word is this. This campaign, we're probably going to end up having to raise and spend around $2 million. Our opponent is probably going to raise and spend double that, which means we need y'all help. We're going to need your help when the summer kicks in, when the fall kicks in. We're going to need help, whether it be knocking on doors, making phone calls, stuffing envelopes, whatever the case may be. This is going to be still a grassroots campaign as much as it can be. So I'm going to keep you guys in the loop. You guys have always been so good to me, and I hope that you feel that I've been good to you. And I always try to be responsive, and I'll make sure that Joel put my cell phone number, and everybody, if you don't have it, store it, use it, take advantage of the access. And if you have any ideas or any input, please just give it to me directly. Don't go through staff. But I'm here for you, as I always have been. And I look forward to getting back to full-time in South Florida and start hitting the ground running.
Thank you, Representative. Good luck up there. And we look forward to connecting with you when you're back home and doing everything we can to help support you in your campaign. Keep fighting a good fight for us. We appreciate it.
Great, guys. All right, man. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye now.
Representative. Okay, folks, we are going to, we typically do our guest speakers at about 7:30, but I know sometimes our elected officials are super busy, especially, we got Representative Grieco traveling in Tallahassee and things like that. So we try to keep going with that. So Councilman Jordan Leonard, you want to go ahead and speak?
Sure. Thank you so much.
Let's do it. So unfortunately, David Geller, who is our campaign committee chair, is not able to be with us tonight. And he was going to do a fabulous introduction of you. So I'm going to let you do an introduction of yourself. Tell us about
Thank you.
Tell us about the work you've been doing. Tell us why you're running for the State House and what we as a club can do to help.
Thank you. Thank you. You saved me $20. I have to pay David for what he was going to say. So I
You can
really
pay me, I'll
appreciate
take it. The club will,
Well,
the club will
my
take your
kids need the money.
$25 a year membership dues. Don't worry, we'll take your $25. How about that?
No, I'll
There's
definitely
a deal. There's a deal.
count me in for
Perfect.
that 100%.
Awesome.
So
Thanks, Councilman.
so let me, well, and by the way, my name's, please call me Jordan. I I've been elected 13 years. I've served 3 terms as mayor. Being mayor, council member, chupacabra, whatever, that and $3 gets me on the Metro bus. I literally work for free on my city council. I don't get a salary. I don't get benefits. So just Jordan. I'm a simple guy. Let me just briefly explain my background, because for many of you, I'm sure, you've probably never heard of me or whatnot. I'm actually from the beach. I'm from Bay Harbor in Miami Beach. My family is one of the oldest families in Bay Harbor Islands. We've lived consistently in Miami Beach and Bay Harbor for almost 70 years. In fact, I can trace my family back 4 generations in both cities. I was born in Miami Beach, in Mount Sinai. All 3 of my children were born in Mount Sinai. I went to Bay Harbor Elementary. I went to Nautilus Middle. I went to Beach High. Actually, both my parents went to Beach High. So both my parents were Beach High grads. My dad was captain of the football team and later received an appointment to the United States Naval Academy. And I grew up on the beach. My parents were divorced, so I grew up in North Beach and I grew up at Bay Harbor in the same time, going back and forth. I can say my kids, I have 3 children. They are actually 3rd generation at the same elementary school. My late grandmother actually fought to have the school built. A whole bunch of moms got together in the 1950s, and Bay Harbor was built. My mom was there literally the day the school opened. She was one of the first kids to walk through the door. I went to school there, and now my 3 kids. So I'm pretty proud of that. I'm actually the first mayor of Bay Harbor that actually grew up and went to elementary school there. I also have a Democratic background. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I started out as a college Democrat at FSU. I was actually vice president of the FSU College Democrats in the 90s. I was actually executive vice president of the Miami-Dade Young Democrats here in Miami. I was also community affairs vice president of the Florida Young Democrats. During the 2000 election, I was actually deputy director of the Miami-Dade Democratic Party. And I was later a DEC member in Dade County. So, for anyone that says, oh, what have you done in the Democratic Party? I'd like to think that I have a track record over 20 years. My first career is actually in government. And that's one of the things that most people don't have when they go up to Tallahassee. They don't have that administrator background. I actually started my career as an aide in the Florida House, representing a district in Broward County. I later worked for Miami-Dade County, specifically in the county's task force on urban economic revitalization. So we worked in Miami-Dade's urban core. We had a $40 million revolving loan fund, a historic preservation fund. We did bridge loans. We actually also started the mom and pop small business grant program out of the office. I was a policy analyst for the county, and I worked there for a number of years. I left the county to become a city clerk in El Portal. I handled a lot of the things that a normal clerk does for a city, but I also handled procurement, employee relations, HR, a lot of the things that you don't typically do. So it got me a good background. From there, I was executive director of the Homestead CRA, and I had over an $18 million budget in that office. And lastly, I was an assistant city manager for the city of Opa-locka. And I'm proud to say that I helped fight public corruption by exposing the waste and fraud of the water and sewer accounts. So that was something that unfortunately they didn't want me there, but obviously you can see with what happened in Opa-locka, I think that I sleep well at night. I'm currently a small business owner. I share a business with my wife. That actually, my wife and I actually met in Miami Beach in Temple, and we've been married 14 years and we have 3 kids. In regards to my elected background, I've been elected 13 years. I served 3 terms as mayor of Bay Harbor Islands. I was also president of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities. I'm also a former board member of the Florida League of Cities. I also currently sit on the South Florida Regional Planning Council, representing Miami-Dade, Broward, and Monroe counties. And, you know, that's really the gist of it. I'm sure you have more policy questions or whatnot.
Yeah,
But let me just,
Councilman, if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit more about the district and where all it spans and
Sure.
represents. Because you know,
So-
I mean, obviously the maps aren't finished yet for the House, like they
They're
are
done.
for the
The-
Senate.
the
Oh, they are
district-
done.
Well,
They're
they
close,
went through
right?
their
Yeah.
first vote last week. There's a new district map that was released tonight, actually. It's H8013. So the one that people probably are looking at is 8009, but 8013 was released actually this evening, and it's literally the same seat. So the district is a combination of Joe Geller's district and Mike Grieco's district. So it is Aventura and Golden Beach all the way down to Fisher Island. So it's literally the east coast of Dade County. So it covers Aventura, Golden Beach, Sunny Isles Beach, Bay Harbor, Bow Harbor, Surfside, Indian Creek, a small portion, about 2 precincts of North Miami, which is really Keystone and Sans Souci. It covers all of Miami Beach and North Bay Village, and the one sliver of unincorporated Dade is Fisher Island. So that in a nutshell is the district I'll be running in. Right now, I don't have any, you know, I mean, I'm sure there will be probably someone getting the race. I can tell you that I've raised over $200,000 as of the end of the year. So that puts me in the state of Florida for people running for House races, I believe, number 3. But I'm going to be raising a lot more money. Just like Mike said, you know, it's game on. But I like to think that and by the way, I had my first fundraiser this week. So I raised $200,000 in COVID without even having a fundraiser. So, so ask away. I'm sure you have lots of questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilman. Folks, who's got questions for Councilman Leonard? You guys use the raise my hand feature or physically raise your hand if I see it. Jada, do you have a question?
I can't hear you. Oh, you're on mute.
No? Dave Dobler, go for it.
Well, I unmuted
Oh.
myself.
Oh.
Sorry.
Just kidding. Go, Janet.
Okay. Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
So picking up on what Mike Greco said, do you feel like, I mean, just with the lopsided nature of the House and the Senate in Florida, first Republicans to Democrats, and I don't pretend to know how many registered Republicans versus registered Democrats in the entire state there are. I'm sure the Republicans maybe win that. I don't know, but I'm just wondering, do you think that the party itself does enough to support and to recruit good candidates and to support them in winning the races? In other words, I'm just trying to understand, like, do you think that the party infrastructure is part of the problem or could be part of the solution? Or, you know, why is this such a hard state for Democrats to get any traction in the state house?
You know, it's 2 things. One is, and you know, and I'm going to be really blunt and frank with you because I'm one of those guys where that's just who I am. One, I believe the party doesn't really do enough in regards to supporting candidates, and you know, obviously I have, you know, a background, so you know, I can raise money. I've been elected. I've kind of done it myself. But what if you haven't? What if you haven't raised a lot of money and you don't have that background? What kind of support are you going to get? You know, that is a problem. You know, one of the things when I first ran and I filed, I called the state Democratic Party, and you know what I got? I got a voicemail. I mean, no one even picks up the phone. I mean, that really kind of says it right there. If you call the Florida Democratic Party, you know, they didn't even pick up the phone because there's no one to pick up the phone. You know, that's a problem. I think that candidates, you know, it breeds that, where's that loyalty? You know, if the Democratic Party doesn't help you get in, do Democrats help the party in return by contributing? Like, for example, one of the things that some of the members ask me is, if I don't have significant opposition and I have all this money, will I be able to give money? Would I be willing to give money to the party and to other candidates? And the answer is an absolute yes. I can legally give $25,000 of hard money to the party directly. I can give soft contributions to the maximum of 1,000 for House members running in races, especially, you know, against Republicans. You know, that's something that I can do. But, you know, you think somebody would call? You know, I mean, I've been running for a year. I mean, I filed last February and I've only had only the incoming minority leader had a meeting with me. That was the only meeting that someone bothered to pick up the phone and said, hey, we want to talk to you. I mean, it's a shame. And the second thing that kind of really kind of rubs me the wrong way is that, you know, when you think about, you know, working together, unfortunately, politics breeds egos, and it's really unfortunate. I think that we are sometimes our worst enemy, and it's a shame. I think we need to work together, and part of it is making sure we put our best people forward. You know, I remember I had an interest in running for the Senate seat when it was up last time, and that was when Daphne Campbell was in the House in the Senate. She won that race, so she was the incumbent. And you know, I had a conversation with Senator Pizzo, and I told Jason, you know, he was the better candidate. If he wanted to run, I wasn't going to run against him because he had the ability, a better ability than me to raise money, a better ability to campaign, and he was going to be a better candidate against her. And I didn't want to split the vote and have him not win. And he's probably been one of the best state senators we've had. You know, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to put your best foot forward. I think if we focus more on putting our best foot forward, and we focus on getting specific people to win seats, I think we'll do better. I mean, when you have these races and we have so many people in primaries, I mean, we're you know, what's the goal here? To win the primary, to lose the general? And, you know, we have to kind of face that ourselves as Democrats.
But
You know,
I guess,
sorry.
I guess like as of just a quick follow-up, and I'll move on to somebody else. Like Florida is so hotly contested for so many things, like for certainly for the presidential races every year. And it's such an important state that I would think that there would be more resources from the national party down to the state party and boots on the ground. Like people always talk about, you know, we have to do more grassroots organizing, but if there's no push from the you know, the machinery of the party, then I mean, you know, little clubs like us, I mean, we can do stuff, and don't get me wrong, we volunteer a lot and do a lot of stuff, but we need somebody to manage it all and to, you know, sort of tell us what they need and tell us what to do. And if there's really no infrastructure, you know, given that Florida is such a swing state and such an important state, I just don't understand like why there aren't those resources. Do you have a sense of why, you know, there's no push from, you know, Washington or whoever the push needs to be from to make this state better organized?
I think we have to start winning more seats before people see investing the money. And again, this is just my opinion. I don't really know anybody in the Florida Democratic Party or the National Democrat. I don't really know those people. I mean, and that's kind of weird, but I really don't. I mean, I think we kind of need to prove that we can win some of these races. But I think, you know, you're also partially right. Until people start investing in Florida, how can we be expected to compete against a well-oiled Republican machine that seems to just pound us into the ground? I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's one of those things. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know.
Well, I just look at what Stacey Abrams did in Georgia. That was a Republican state and it's a Republican legislature. But if you throw resources at it, you can register and get people out. And I just don't understand why those resources are not devoted to Florida, or there's no effort on a national basis. I mean, they come here every 4 years and want to try to win Florida, but if you don't invest in the local seats, which is going to make the infrastructure for the national races, then we're never going to win the state. I just don't understand why people don't see that.
Yeah.
No,
all right. Well, listen, let's move on to a couple more questions. So we're going to hear from Dave Dobler, and then we're going to hear from Marcia Cunningham. That's our last question for the evening. For you, Jordan, I know we could continue to have a spirited debate about all the party infrastructure and everything like that. I love some of the comments that are happening here. We need to get to work. We know what we need to do. The Republicans voter registered us for the year. They are up 43,000 Republicans across the state. We know what we need to do. If we want to, you know, do what Grieco said and do what Jordan's telling us, we've got to win seats. We have to show that we are a party who can put our ideas forward and get things done. So anyways, Dave, go for you. And then we're going to the last question from Marcia Cunningham.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for joining us today. It's nice to hear from you. I'm thrilled that you're running. Can you share some of your environmental priorities?
Oh, oh my gosh, where do I start? So, Bay Harbor Islands, I have tried really hard to make as a sustainable community as possible. In fact, actually, it's funny because Cindy Lerner's on the meeting tonight, and I'm proud to say I actually copied the ordinance that that they did in Pinecrest for Bay Harbor Islands. So we call it in Bay Harbor, we call it the green ordinance. So it allows rebates off of the building and permitting fees for people to build sustainable buildings. So it's, and when I say sustainable, I mean LEED or equivalent certified buildings. I can tell you I have a track record of trying to, whenever the council receives any type of project, and normally we don't get projects that come for a vote because that's not how our city works. But in the rare case it does, I always try to make sure that it's LEED certified. That's kind of like one of the things. So for example, one of the biggest project that we have that's come to the town, one of the requirements for the approval, I was the tiebreaker vote, was that it had to be LEED or equivalent certified. I also, one of the big things about sustainability for me is transportation. And, you know, it's one of the things that for me, if you've ever been to Bay Harbor is like, you know, a very small town. It's kind of, it's everybody knows everybody. You know, I remember driving on South Beach, gosh, you know, this was years ago, and seeing those green walking paths. I thought to myself, oh my God, we got to get that. So I proposed it and got that approved. So the entire East Island and Bay Harbor has the same green walking paths that you have in Miami Beach and portions of Aventura have it. That cost my town $500,000. And I knew going into the vote, the council didn't want to spend the money. So I went to the PTA, I'm a PTA dad, and we created poster signs. I mean, this is as grassroots as it gets. So we had all the kids and all the parents sign poster signs and come to the meeting and hold up the signs. We had over 1,000 signatures. It passed unanimously. And now everyone says, oh, this is like the greatest thing. I'm like, yeah, I remember when no one really wanted it, but you know, it creates that sustainability. One of the coolest things that I started, and it's taken me 4 years to do, but it just got approved. I call it Free Uber. And it's pretty cool because you guys have in the beach, you have Freebie. And I'm sure you've heard of Freebie, and it's point-to-point transportation. So I worked on the half-penny sales tax when I worked at the county. So I kind of know how CITT money works and whatnot. So when they changed it and allowed point-to-point transportation, you know, that works great in Doral, that works great in Pinecrest, it works great in Miami Beach. But that wouldn't work well in a Bay Harbor because we don't have a Publix, we don't have a Costco, we don't have any of the types of things that people would want to go to. And one of the biggest problems in South Florida is the first mile, last mile issue. So what I devised was a plan to commingle CITT money to create a geofence that expands beyond the municipal boundaries. So Surfside, Bow Harbor, and Bay Harbor have an interlocal agreement. And this is actually the first interlocal agreement in the state of Florida. No one's ever done this before. And we are going to share our CITT money and we have one contract that it just got awarded. And so we're going to have the same point-to-point transportation you have. The only difference is that our boundaries extend beyond our cities. In fact, actually, it goes to as far south as the North Beach Library, and it goes to Hallover, where the skate park is, and it goes as far north as 151st Street, which is where FIU is, where the Costco is. And what's even better, when Brightline creates on the FEC Railway and has that transportation plan that everyone's been talking about, it's going to happen, there's going to be a stop on 151st Street. So for the first time ever, someone in my town can go from their home to an actual rail stop and get on a train and go downtown Miami and repeat it. So the first time ever, you actually don't need a car to go downtown. And what's better, it's free because we're doing the same thing you guys are doing. The only difference is that we've expanded it. And by the way, this is something that was devised at a League of Cities meeting. And, you know, when you think about it, again, I volunteer. So, you know, I don't have a staff like, you know, Miami Beach commissioners, they have a staff. I don't have a staff. This is all stuff that we kind of just, you know, I do on my own. And I'm very proud that that's something that we're going to be doing in North Dade. So, I mean, I could talk more about sustainability, but, you know, I mean, it's really a very broad subject. But
I'll talk to you about clean water later.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, call me. Absolutely.
We'll talk about clean water later.
No,
all right.
Listen, water is a big deal. Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. We always appreciate your very thoughtful questions. And Councilman, thank you so much for the good answer. Marcia Cunningham with our final question for Councilman Leonard. Go for it.
You're muted. You're muted.
Marcia, you're still mute.
I love Zoom.
Okay, nice to meet you, Jordan Leonard,
Hi.
but this is a general question for everybody. I actually don't know, how are people appointed to the Florida Democratic Party? What's their back? Whoever can answer that, just generally.
Sorry, Marcia, could you repeat the question? How do you do what with the Florida Democratic Party?
I don't know how people are actually promoted or get appointed to the Florida, like the Democratic Party, those people that aren't answering the
got
phone.
it. Okay. Yeah. I'm happy to connect with you offline about this, but I'm very similar to like the Miami-Dade Democratic Executive Committee, our local Democratic Party. You can become a member of the party. You can then, once you are a member, you can then run for one of the offices. So like we have a committee man and a committee woman.
Wow.
We have, other members represent us in the DC at the state level for things like that. But you can also be a member of the state party. And I'm absolutely happy to connect with you. Anybody offline about that stuff, we can certainly connect you with the local party and then also the state party as well.
All right. Does anyone else have a question
Yeah.
for me?
Any other questions for Councilman Leonard? Okay, Councilman, where can folks find you? How can we learn more about you?
I'm gonna give you my cell number. Okay, so I'm gonna give it to you. Call me anytime. Obviously the city doesn't pay for it, so feel free to call me, text me. I'd love to talk to you individually about any issues. It's just who I am. My number is 305-206-8497. So 305-206-8497. Reach out to me, and yep, that's it. Yeah, now everyone's got it, and call me. I'd love to actually chat, and let me just end by this. I know that I'm the front runner or whatever, but I don't take anything for granted. I want to earn your vote. I want to earn your support. Someone asked about campaign event. I have a fundraiser on Thursday. And if you send me your information, I'll be more than happy to send you the link to link into that. But I'm more interested in actually earning your respect and earning your trust. I don't take it for granted as someone from the beach or from Bay Harbor. I don't take it for granted as someone who's been elected. I'm doing this the right way. And I really, really want to earn that vote, one vote at a time. And if you give me that opportunity, hopefully I won't let you down.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Councilman. And if you wouldn't mind, before you leave, if you have a Facebook, if you have a website, we would love for you to drop those into the chat. Oh, Dave's on top of it. Dave wants it there too. People want to learn more about you. If you have campaign events, just like we told Representative Grieco, campaign events, volunteer opportunities, things like that are coming up, please let us know. We are happy to promote that for any and all of our Democratic candidates. We, as a club, do not make endorsements when there's more than one Democrat in the race. We can only endorse when there's one Democrat in the race, whether that's a nonpartisan race like City Commission, or whether that's a partisan race like the Florida House. We do look forward to hearing more from you. Please keep us posted and updated on things that you have going on. And we will most likely be doing some sort of a candidate forum in the fall, so we can hear from all of our Miami Beach Democratic candidates that are going to be appearing on our ballot in Miami Beach. So super excited to hear more from you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Good luck with the work in Bay Harbor Islands.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks, we are going to go ahead and get into our agenda. It's 7:50, so I hope we can move somewhat swiftly through this. Thank you all so much for indulging us with our guest speakers. Oftentimes, our elected officials are super busy and traveling in Tallahassee, and so we like to try to hear from them first. We're going to quickly do an approval of the minutes. Since I know we've met quorum, is there a motion to approve the minutes from November and December?
I so move.
Motion by Steve, seconded by Tim. Is there any discussion on those minutes? All right, seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries and the minutes from November, December approved. As always, those are always available online. We also try to make our YouTube video recordings available for those of you who can't make it, or maybe you can only come for a little bit so you can hear the rest of the stuff that's going on. I am going to go ahead and jump into my president's report. I don't have too much to report to you guys. Obviously, tonight we are still on Zoom. We wish we were all back together in person. The DEC is also taking this approach right now as well. A lot of folks feel like with the Omicron wave, that Miami-Dade County is we believe on the downside of, at least, with the numbers steadily declining and hospitalizations steadily declining as well. Those numbers are starting to look better. We will continue to look on a month-by-month basis and see what those numbers look like. But we do hope to return in person to get them Hotel Marseille. So we will keep you updated. Make sure you're watching our social media. Check your emails. Something we did want to do tonight, something a little bit different. We used to do this while we were in person together. And if folks don't feel comfortable doing it, you don't have to do it. But we thought it would be nice to hear from some new people that joined us tonight. I know, Diane, I don't know if you're still here. I saw you post in the chat that you found out about us from Mobilize. If there's anybody tonight that is new to our meetings, or maybe you've come a couple times and you don't know folks, if you feel comfortable when you want to say hello and what brought you to the meeting tonight, we'd love to hear from you. And if not, there's absolutely no pressure to do so. We just thought it'd be nice to hear from some new folks that came and joined us.
Hello, guys. I would like to say a little hello and make some respect to Jordan for your environmental, win. You did this beautiful green walk. This is really great. And we have one idea. It is to plant a tree. Like maybe in every city of Miami-Dade County, and call it a peace tree of peace. There is a lot of like war hysteria in the world, so it's like small project in any park, just a tree, but it could be a nice thing to energize young people. It's environmental, it's like peace activity as well. So if anybody likes the idea, we could do it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Will. And we will pass it along to our program and our outreach chairs, and possibly we can see about there's ways to team up with other folks and do that. Barbara Bisno, did you want to say a quick hello?
Yeah, I would. I live on the Miami end of the Venetian Causeway. So I don't vote in many of the Miami Beach elections. It looks like I would be able to vote for Mike. His district extends way into Miami. But I would like to know, it's been a long time since I've been able to attend a meeting. Who is in charge of voter registration? That's my main interest, and I would like to do it.
Awesome.
So,
yeah, so Barbara, we have a voter registration committee, and you are more than welcome to join it. I will pass along your information to Tanarmi Jimenez, who could not be with us this evening, but she is our voter registration committee chair. We are doing voter registration events at the Lincoln Road Antique Market, and also have events that are happening at the fountain, the Normandy Fountain. We're doing those usually about one of those each month. We're getting out there, we're talking to residents and also visitors alike, letting them know about the Miami Beach Democratic Club, letting them know that we're here. We're also registering voters. We do have a big voter registration event that we're going to be doing on February the 9th from 12 to 2 p.m. at the New World Symphony, going to register a bunch of their students. A lot of those have moved here.
Well, if somebody would contact me and give me
we'll do that.
Where to show up. And let me ask you, do you ever reach, I don't even know if it really exists. I went to a meeting once, the Miami Dems, City of Miami Democratic Club. I think it may still exist. Do you ever reach out to them to work with them?
Yeah. So we do sometimes. Oftentimes you'll see the clubs and the caucuses getting together to put on events. We haven't done anything with the Downtown Dems in a little while. The Downtown Dems might be the one you're thinking of. A lot of them are very geographically based. So you've got, Coral Gables Dems, Coconut Grove Dems, things like that.
No, I'm thinking about the Downtown Dems.
Yeah, the Downtown Dems. Yeah. We're always happy to connect you with them, but we always love having you too, Barbara.
Pardon me?
I said we were happy to connect you with them, but we always love having you join us too.
Okay, well, could you connect me with them too? I can't.
Absolutely, Miss Barbara.
And I would love to belong to both clubs. That would be great.
Perfect. That sounds fantastic. I'll make sure to connect you to the Downtown Dems and to Tanami, our voter registration chair.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's go ahead and continue moving on in our agenda this evening. So that was my president's report. Thank you all so much for saying quick hello, Will and Barbara. We always appreciate it. Amanda Knapp, our vice president, is in class this evening and is not able to give a vice president's report or an outreach report. But some things that we do want to update you on is obviously we have down at the end of our agenda, you can see, and I'll post all of this in the chat right now, but we have a voter registration event that's coming up at New World Symphony on February the 9th. If you're interested, there's the email address for you there. We have a neighborhood and beach walk cleanup that we're doing in conjunction with volunteer Florida Dave Dobler's group and Dara Schoenwald's group as well. We're going to be meeting at the Hotel Marseille on 1741 Collins Avenue. We're going to disperse at 12 for, we're going to disperse and meet back around noon for a light lunch. But supplies will be provided. We do ask that if you have them, we would love for you to bring your own gloves if you do have those, and bring your own refillable water bottles. Your own water bottles already filled and things like that. Please do if you can join us. And then last but not least, Normandy Fountain Sundays in Lincoln Road Antique Market. We're doing voter registration, vote by mail enrollment. Sign up at contact us at mybeachdims@gmail.com if you're interested in doing so.
Hey, I have a quick question of clarification.
Go for it.
On volunteercleanup.org, you're listing the cleanup as Saturday. Amanda put in Saturday, but in the meeting agenda tonight it says Sunday. So is it Saturday or Sunday?
That's a question for Amanda. I'm pretty sure it's on Sunday. So maybe we listed on the wrong date, or maybe we have the wrong date. I will get Amanda to clarify that. I thought it was going to be on Sunday though.
If anybody wants to register for it, the link won't change whether it's Saturday or Sunday. We'll update it internally. We'll figure out what it is.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate you pointing that out to us.
And wear your Miami Dade Dem shirt so that people out there see that we're doing days of service.
Yes, absolutely. We will bring extra Miami Beach Democratic Club shirts if you want to purchase one, if you don't already have one. Looks like Patrick might be wearing his tonight. I'm not sure. It looks like a light blue shirt. No, you're not going to surprise us and stun us with your new Miami Beach Democratic Club shirt. All right, we do have them for sale though. They're $15. New fun soft material with a new design. We're starting to bring those to our events. So if you want to purchase one, you can. We have them in lady sizes and also in the unisex sizes as well. With that, Patrick, do you want to give us the treasurer's report?
Sure thing. All right, so our current bank balance is $6,119. This month we did have a few expenses. We have the recurring expense of the storage facility and Zoom while we're still doing remote calls. And then we also had our holiday party, which was a great success. And we were the very first team to register for Miami Beach Pride, which I'm sure you'll hear more about soon from Bill Warren. And then we're hoping to get lots of sponsorships to cover those costs, which you'll hear about more shortly.
Thank you, Patrick. Janet, do you want to give us the secretary's report, please?
Muted.
I keep forgetting to unmute myself. I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. So as of today, we have 96 members. So I think we're sort of holding steady, which is good. There are 7 people whose memberships are expiring by the end of the month. So hopefully you've gotten my email, which I sent today, and you'll promptly go to our website and renew. And I mean, the only other thing I have to say is that if you know like-minded people who want to volunteer and do voter outreach, voter registration, you know, all the phone banking, all of the things that we do to, elect more Democrats. It's, the midterm election year. It's going to be really important this year to get out there. So, please encourage them to either volunteer at some of our events or join our club.
Thank you so much, Janet. Appreciate it. Dave, we're going to move on to committee reports, unless if anybody has any questions about our executive board reports. Okay. David Geller, our campaign committee chair, was not able to join us this evening, but you guys are about to be the first people to hear some exciting news. We have Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried, candidate for Governor Nikki Fried, who's going to be speaking to us virtually next month. So very excited to have her join us. We've been trying to get her on our agenda for a while, and she's got such a super crazy schedule, she hasn't been able to join us. Thankfully, we're still, whether we are back in person in February or not, I don't expect that we will be. But even if we are back in person, we're still going to have a hybrid component to it. And so Nikki will be joining us via Zoom, whether we are on Zoom or back in person, and have her featured on Zoom. So David Geller wanted me to let you guys all know that. So get very excited. Please bring your friends, bring your questions for one of our candidates for governor. Okay, next up, Steve, would you like to give us a communications update, please?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So 2022, big year. I mean, every year seems like a big year, but this one is really big. The other side isn't standing still. And so we're going to try to start ramping up our digital outreach at least. And we need volunteers. So I'm asking each of you that if you'd like to contribute and help to communicate and get the word out. Number one, you can join the communications committee and we can put you to work. If you can write copy, if you can make graphics, if you're good at video, any of those kind of things, we would love to have you join, or even if you just want to be involved. Number two, you can also just simply keep up with us on social media. So I'm going to post all of our information into the chat. And if you would like to be more involved and join the communications committee, email us. The email is at the very top, miamibeachdems@gmail.com. That's it.
Thank you so much, Steve. Listen, there's always great content that we have on our website, on our social media handles. We would love for you to like us and engage with us. Please, please, please do. That's how we try to disseminate all of our good information, and make sure that you're signed up for email list. Okay, next up, we are going to hear from, let's see, Aaron Boston is also not able to be with us tonight. He asked me to let everybody know. Give me 1 second here. Steve, if you wouldn't mind, can you drop Aaron's neighborhood building organizing committee email address in the chat, please? He asked me to let everyone know that he's scheduling next month's meeting now. And if you would like to join him, Aaron Boston is our neighborhood and building organizer. So he's the one that's helping to organize the Democrats to live in these buildings. You know, oftentimes we can't get into these buildings. We don't have access. And so if we have, you know, some of our volunteers that live in a building of, you know, 50 or 60 or 75 units, or even larger than that, they can help us talk to the Democrats that are in their own building. So if you want to be part of the meeting that he's hosting next month in February, please email him, and Steve is going to drop his email into the chat. If you have any ideas about how you'd like to help organize North Beach, Mid Beach, or South Beach, we are always open to suggestions. Please email Aaron and he will let you know when the next meeting is coming up. And let's see, next up we are going to have Bill Warren. Please give us a program committee update.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It's been a great meeting. I really did enjoy all the conversations from the candidates and the elected officials. Good luck on everything, Jordan. We look forward to helping you out on your campaign in any way we can, as well as Michael Grieco, of course, who's been a longtime friend of this group. The program committee, we met last week, and the biggest thing that we're working on right now is, believe it or not, we're going to be doing another Pride event coming up. I know we just did a Pride back in October, but the annual Pride event on Ocean Drive is going to be April the 9th and the 10th. And the club, we will have another float. We will be participating again this year. There are probably going to be a few things we're going to do differently. One thing I think we want to really try to focus a little bit more, and we missed some opportunities, I think, at the last event, where we kind of like lost focus on really getting some more voters registration done prior to the event. We're going to try to work closer with our voters registration committee to put together a team of people so we can do a better job at doing some voter registration. But in addition to that, the event, it will be April the 10th. And like I said, our club will be a participant in the event. We do have to raise money though. As we did the last time, we had sponsors. We had a sponsorship program, and we were able to raise enough money to cover the cost of the event, which is going to be around $2,000 by the time we had to pay for the entry fee and the bus we're going to use and the entertainment and some food and things like that. I think the budget is going to be close to $2,000, but I got to work a little bit closer on that. But what we've put together so far is a sponsorship form that we'll probably be posting within the next 2 weeks with Steve from communication. We're going to be posting our sponsorship levels. And just briefly, I'll go through them with you. There's going to be 5 levels. There's going to be a $500 platinum level that only one organization can buy that. And then there's going to be a $200 silver level, a $100 gold level, a $100 elected official level. And then this year we're adding like a $20 member support level. So, I mean, there are members who may not want to buy a full sponsorship, but still want to support the parade, whether you are in the parade or not. You know, we're asking that, you know, you consider making a $20 donation. But we're going to finalize this document and get it out on the website, hopefully by the 1st of February for sure, so that we can start collecting our sponsorships. So if anyone wants more information on it, you know, it will be on the website, or please feel free to contact me. But if anybody who participated in the last event that we had, you saw how enthusiastic the crowd welcomed our entry. They was very enthusiastic about our bus that we had with our name on it and everything. But it's a great opportunity to connect with the local community. Hopefully we can you know, get some voters registration done, get some enthusiasm for the candidates that's running. We want to support our Democratic candidates the best we can. And, you know, we have a captured audience of maybe, I don't know, it's kind of hard to predict how many people will be there. But regardless of the number of people that's there, if we can get our name out, get people enthused about the Democratic Party and about our candidates, then it will be time well spent. So stay tuned. You will hear more information in the coming weeks about the event.
Thank you so much, Bill. I know it feels like we just did Pride like yesterday, and I think we're all still excited to celebrate it all over again in April. Thank you so much. That concludes our oh, so we've got one more. Tineri Jimenez is not with us this evening, our voter registration chair. If you do want to get trained up on voter registration, we are happy to connect you either with the Miami-Dade Democratic Party to go through the voter registration training. If you've done voter registration before, it's always good to do a little refresher. I do it every couple of years too, so I remember what needs to go in the forms and things like that. And sometimes the Florida law does change, so it's helpful to do that. We're happy to connect you with the Miami-Dade Democratic Party's voter registration efforts for their trainings. We do have on February the 9th from 12 to 2, volunteers are needed. If you would like to do voter registration, we would love to connect you and get some of these students in New World Symphony signed up to register to vote. And then also, like I said, we are doing events at the Lincoln Road Antique Market, at the Normandy Fountain, and others. So if you ever want to get involved in voter registration, this is the year to do so. Email us at miamibeachdems@gmail.com.
Would you please, this is Barbara Bisnov.
Yes, Barbara.
Would you please connect me with whoever? I haven't done
Tineri,
it
yes.
for a couple years.
Oh,
so
absolutely. Absolutely. We will definitely do
I
that with
need
you,
the
Barbara.
training.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm putting in my notes right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that concludes our committee reports for the evening. Is there any new business that anybody wants to bring forward tonight? Sherry?
This is Minister.
Comment?
Not new business. Is there something going on at the New World Symphony on the 9th from 12 to 2? Is there a reason we're doing voter?
Yeah. So we just worked with them to find a date that worked well with them, because we're going to be registering the students if they would like to get registered to vote. Obviously, voter registration is a nonpartisan event. We can't tell anybody to register as a Democrat or Republican, but we certainly go and try to register as many voters as possible. It's a fantastic event we did several years ago at New World Symphony, and I think we registered about 40 or 50 voters. And so we're looking forward to doing that again this year, hoping we get to register some of the students and move down here. So it was a date that we just mutually agreed upon. That was when they asked us if we could come, and we said yes. So that's the only significance of the date.
Sounds good. And quick tag on, what about Miami-Dade College? Do we have any kind of, I understand there isn't really a Miami Beach campus per se. Is that why we don't make any targeted effort to register young folks?
Yeah. I mean, I would say typically, what we've seen in the past is that our members don't necessarily like to leave Miami Beach for events.
Right.
So we don't our club does not do a lot of sponsoring of events that happen off of Miami Beach. It's not to say that we can't. It's not to say we can't do it again in the future, or even partner up with other clubs or caucuses to do so. I will definitely pass along the idea of Miami-Dade College to the Miami-Dade DEC and see what they think, and see if they're able to do something there. Maybe we can even partner up with them. But thank you for that great idea. Okay, is there any other new business for the evening? One last final thing that I did want to mention, and I know it was on our agenda. In March, we are holding elections. Board of directors, the entire board is up for election. President, vice president, treasurer, secretary, parliamentarian, and board seats 2 and 4. Those are 2-year terms for board seats 2 and 4. If you have any interest in running for the board, we would love to have you consider. Please email us at miamibeachdems@gmail.com. And lastly, is there anything else? Anybody wants to bring up anything? Anyone say hello or anything else? All right, let's see. Dave says if any of the clubs aren't pushing voter reg drives, we need to go wherever they need. We can also find weekly events at the North Beach Band Shell, voter reg outside event for 1 to 2 hours. That's a great idea. Dave and I will pass along to Snare. We actually did that sometimes out front of the outside out front of the Fillmore on certain concerts and things like that we're having. You know, we obviously want to register as many Democrats as possible. We're not you know, not trying to say who would go to certain concerts as Democrat or who's a certain one would be Republican, but you know, sometimes we go when there might be a younger crowd because sometimes those voters might skew a little bit more Democrat and things like that. But yes, that's a great idea. And I'll pass along to Snare is checking out the calendar at the North Beach Band Shell. All right, folks, it is 8:11 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to follow us on our social media channels. If you're not a member, please join us, miamibeachdems.com/get_involved. And we look forward to seeing you in our next event. Thank you so much and have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you. Good night. Good night.